right, hello wine-drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and our friend Aurelio from the Grapes of Spain in to see us with a wine we're very familiar with. We've been buying it since the very first vintage, and this is Aurelio and Mr. Garcia have now started a joint project together, this Adras and the Sensible wines. They're made from purchased fruit from vineyards that they don't own, but these are vineyards that they have found, and they're having them farmed the way that they want them farmed to make these wines. So an interesting venture. However, the wines to me were not that interesting, and they weren't that cheap when you look at Spanish wine in this category. I don't know, maybe the Mencia from Ribera Sacra was an off bottle, but like I said, just not very impressive, either of these first two wines. Hopefully it was the bottles that we had on that afternoon. They were good, but I was just expecting more, knowing Aurelio and the rest of his portfolio, like the Vega Escal Priorat, which this wine's made from 40 to 50-year-old Grenache vines. There's Carignan and Syrah in the blend, and this is the sign of what is happening in the Priorat. They're starting to make more balanced wines. More balanced still means alcohol, because the Priorat's, you're going to get 14.5% alcohol in a wine that you're trying to make a lower alcohol wine, just getting the grapes ripe here. You get that typical liquorel in this wine as well, that slaty kind of rockiness you get from the soil there, and that pretty garrigue quality, also the wildflowers and herbs that grow in this part of the world. And this wine's got all that in the nose, some fresh berry pie fruit, a hint of a dried, smoky, meaty character coming out as this wine opens. A lovely amount of that sweet, rich berry pie fruit showing on the tongue. Still has good freshness here on the finish. That lovely spice, that minerality, and the floral notes coming through on the finish. Holds up very nicely on the second day. A great example of an entry-level Priorat. $25.50. We've sold a lot of this wine over the last couple of years. The Bodegas Maurodos. And this is the Prima. We have this in magnums, and we're getting 3 liters back in. One of the great values from Toro. These guys, one of the first. The 2003 was the first vintage of this wine, but the Maurodos property, I think 97 was their first vintage. Numancia was 98. Even though Mencia from Vega Sicilia was there before them, they did like 5 years worth of experimenting before they released their first wine. So these guys in on the ground floor of the revolution in Toro. And the secret is taming the monster. They have got such huge tannins in these wines to make a wine that is balanced. Can be a little hard. These guys threw in a little Grenache in there maybe to help round out the wine and give it a little balance, as well as some Touriga Nacional. Don't say anything. You're not allowed to use Touriga Nacional yet, but that's under the... Anyways, this wine still has a beautiful amount of dark berry fruit here. Nice dark spices, espresso, tobacco, some wild flowers and herbs here. Even more starting to come out on the second day here. A lovely richness on the tongue, that dark berry and plum fruit. And it has some tannins here, but nice freshness, nice balance. And a big wine, but still... lovely balance. You still want to drink the whole bottle. $26.50 you can. Still very reasonably priced. And the Saint Romain, wow, a much bigger version of the Prima, the oldest vines on the property. And they've got 75 hectares of vines here. And wow, man, this wine has got a lovely liqueur, black cherry liqueur-like fruit to the nose. Dark mocha, licorice spice, chocolate. And you get 24 months in oak, so you get quite a bit of oak coming out. But this wine has got the fruit to handle it. And big and chewy on the tongue. This wine needs a little bit of time. Lots of tannins here. It's got a firm hand of acidity, but a little bit hard to stomach without a steak or something like that. A real tooth blackener, but most excellent stuff as we've come to know him, this Saint Romain wine. One of the top wines from Toro. That's what we had to drink with our friend Aurelio from Grapes of Spain. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.